A client will contact the Classic Barn Company and will be looking for advice, but will also come with quite a clear idea as to what they want. So our role is to assist the client in identifying what they want and to meet their aspirations in every possible way.
But we have a particular design process where we utilise 3D modelling and be very accurate and get to orientate the model and look at it in detail, because they can see the barn evolve and we can share that with them shoulder to shoulder. And quite often what happens is that we find betterment, or they come up with an idea that they want to explore and have a look at, and the model can evolve from that. So it doesn't always finish as it starts out, and that is quite an exciting process.
The key unknown with any oak frame building lies in the ground. So what comes above the ground is very much controllable, what is underground is not controllable, and of course a building such as this is subject to building regulations. The main thing is to work closely with building control. We either dig a trial pit, take soil samples, get those soils analysed to tell us what the soils are, and then we have our structural engineer design the foundations, i.e. what's underground. Alternatively, we dig the foundations and get building control to come and approve it. The oak that comes through is structural and is graded to visually grade out any infestations, woodworm and so on. So the fact that all the front posts are kept off the ground means that you don't have that upward transfer of water, because that's the only way that wood will rot, is if it's actually in connection with the ground and with moisture. The frames are fully prefabricated before delivery to site. The benefit of that is the speed of the installation and the fact that there's minimum noise and minimum mess for a client. Traditional with hand finish but modern underlying technology.
Green oak, natural, organic material, and it tends to twist and tends to bend, but once we are here on site, we always strap it up if the beam is carved, so we have to make it straight, we have to make it fit.
This is the standard Classic Barn feature. This is what we call a K-brace. It has a structural purpose and an aesthetic purpose as well. Obviously it's quite striking from an aesthetic point of view because it adopts almost like a cathedral arch shape. It also prevents the building from racking, so it has a purpose for structural requirements as well. The brace itself is handcrafted, but it's mortised and tenoned into the main frame and then finished with these lovely thick chunky dowels that you can see here. The main post then continues down into the sole plate, and we have the same jointing method down the bottom there, so it's very visual and very traditional. We follow that traditional theme up into the roof space with these very chunky double-sided knee braces that we have all around the top half of the barn. They're very visual but also have a structural purpose. So some of the classic features are less obvious, they're not on show, but this particular joint here is called a stud, and we actually dovetail that stud into the main frame, which you can see at the bottom. Now that helps control movement, but it also provides a very traditional joint, which is something we're quite enthusiastic about. Joinery is very important to maintain the integrity of the barn. We use a very high-level handmade standard of joinery that's made from Iroko. You can see this being fitted by the craftsman now. Now Iroko differs in colour, so you get a very nice contrast, but it's also a very stable timber. It's prone to less movement than other materials.
We have done the frame, and now it's time for second fix before we start to put the cladding on the frame.
This barn's going to be clad with western red cedar. So again, there's no water that gets into the barn, so in terms of the longevity of these will be here. This barn will outlive you and I. Oak frame barns, they have a particular charm about them, and they have a certain touchy-feelness about them. They seem to work perfect in the countryside environment.
Once the job is done, it's nice to see the job is finished, and and I hope also for everyone, for the client and also for us.
So what you see here behind me today is the frame finishing process, and our craftsmen are doing a great job on putting the finishing touches to the frame. But what follows next really brings the building together. Cladding will go on the barn, and that will finish the side walls, and what will follow that will be a tile, normally a handmade or a machine-made clay nib tile, and that will really finish off the building. We're drawn to this type of product because it's very tactile, you can smell it, and it's very beautiful when we erect it as a building, and our clients join us with that enthusiasm. So it's a win-win situation all round, yeah.